Having had a lot of experience in corporate America, I get a lot of very, very good questions actually regarding how to actually grow within the system, right? Not when you're an entrepreneur. I know if you're an entrepreneur, you probably don't want to listen to this because this has nothing to do with you. This is more, it has everything to do with someone who works for someone and at this time perhaps is not ready to be an entrepreneur and wants to continue to kind of evolve within their work. I did that for a number of years. I did very, very well in corporate America. I kind of beat the system. I learned how it worked. I learned the different components like how to manage your boss, how to manage your employees, how to manage the system, the company, and the HR rules and everything else to kind of get up and further faster. And I think this is a really good question because the question asks, should you take a job that is less money but more opportunity to grow, or a job that has given you more money but ultimately less opportunity for growth? So here's what one piece of advice is that one of my mentors in corporate America and banking when I was 18 years old gave me. Always get your title first. Your title stays with you. People have different values for that title, and it's worth a lot more to someone on the outside than it is to someone on the inside. So here's what I mean. When you're within a company and you're able to move up very quickly to a very high level, even though the pay may not be there, even though you may not receive as much pay as you would elsewhere, the ability for you to continue growing and continue moving to a higher rank or higher title is very, very important. Because at some point or at any given point, you can take that title to another company, and to them, it's worth a lot more than the company's paying you for today currently. It's very simply like, let's use my banking experience. If I work at, let's say, Bank of America, and I've earned kind of like, I've gone from kind of a teller to the salesperson to a bank manager and so on and so forth. Well, the bank manager at Bank of America might only earn me 55,000 if I'm within the system, right, at Bank of America. But to a TD bank, that same position is worth 80,000, especially perhaps with the skill set, because you didn't grow up there. So the HR guidelines are very different from one to the other for recruiting from the outside in versus promoting from the inside in. But the title can change. So in other words, you need to reach this title so that you're worth X amount of money across the board within your industry. And so one of the key points that one of the main reasons people make a lot of mistake in corporate America is they focus on every dollar they can get in every position. And the real dollar is not getting them anything. Because if you think about there's a difference between a $3,000 or $5,000 annual salary, right? Between two places, one has more growth potential and the other one has that 5,000 extra. Ask yourself, what is $5,000? Divide 5,000 into 26 pay periods and then minus 30% for your taxes. So just for $100, you are giving yourself up and losing the opportunity to succeed in the very long term. This is insane. Like, you can't be doing that. You need to focus on what is going to take you where you want to go. And maybe that's a person you're going to work for if you take less money. Maybe it's the right person. I always said when I hired people, I will pay you 10% less than anybody will pay you because I want you to work here for me, because I want you to work here, not because you feel like you're going to make more money. That gave me much more loyal employees and it enabled me to grow almost like my own business. And then at some point I had like over 100 employees. But this is how my system always worked. And I always promoted people faster because I believed if they got somewhere, they would always want to even work for me, even if they were at a position where they didn't directly report to me. They indirectly still worked for me. Something that almost none of my supervisors, as I grew into the corporate America field, in the banking field in corporate America, ever understood. A lot of people were like, I don't understand how it is that these people don't even work for you and they have so much loyalty to you, because I was part of their success and I was the only reason they were successful. So because I was able to be that push for them, I was able to be the catalyst to help them get their inner potential at a place where they needed to become very successful and go from 20K a year to 70K a year in less than 3 years, and therefore giving them all the success they want to continue forward on their own. But for someone to work for me, they have to take less money. So it's almost the same as the question. Like, I think you have to be willing to sacrifice the short term for the long term. And it's no different than in entrepreneurship, because you have to be able to sacrifice the 1 year view for the 3 to 5 year view, because you're not living in the 1 year space. You're living in the 3 to 5 year space. And that's the only space that matters. It's the only space in your life that matters. It's the one thing that differentiates successful people from really unsuccessful poor people. And it's just that. It's that someone can see, a poor person sees 1 month ahead, 1 week ahead. The poor person sees 2 weeks ahead of their next paycheck. A successful person sees a year ahead, maybe 2 years ahead. And someone who's mastered themselves and who truly lives in the third circle, like I say in my book, ultimately can see 5 to 10 years ahead and put themselves completely ahead of the equation and curve, giving themselves a competitive advantage over everybody, regardless of this corporate America or entrepreneurship. So should we set small goals or really large ones? We should set both. I think all of these questions are very generic in nature.